people that live here? What are the stories you want to hear about? Weird about Indianapolis? That voicemail starts the episode.
Your marketing for your show does your outbound lead gen for new guests.
They become a part of the story, right? Like when they're there and they can like see that happening, it was the event-based side of things that really helped us grow.
What kept you guys going, and where were some of those milestones you guys hit along the journey that were like, hey, this is pretty sick? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Aberdeen is Indiana's first agri-hood and wellness lifestyle community, an upscale neighborhood in Center Grove built with one thing in mind: connection. The whole place is designed to bring people together. One of my favorite traditions they've started: the newest residents to move in get a welcome crate from the last family who moved in, full of fresh produce from the neighborhood farm, a few housewarming gifts, and a letter from the developer. That simple gesture sparks real connection, neighbors meeting, and real friendships forming. This isn't just about elegant homes. It's about living in a place where people actually know and care about each other. Learn more at aberdeenliving.com. Today I have the founding fathers of Indianapolis podcasting live in studio. My guests are Fabian Rodriguez and Jared Byczko, the co-founders of the Drink Culture podcast. It ran from 2017 to 2020. They put out over 200 episodes over those 3 years and have reached over 350,000. Yes, that is over 250,000 downloads and still counting. Today, Jared is the owner of Myriad Fitness and Yoga. It's a lifestyle-based fitness facility in downtown Indianapolis at the Stutz building. You have to go check it out. Fabian is the owner of Culture Collaborative Media, where he helps businesses bring their podcasts to life. We're going to be talking through their journey building one of the most influential podcasts in the state of Indiana. From 2017 to 2020, they're still making an impact beyond. I'm really excited. If anyone doesn't know out there, so we started our podcast in about 2023. Drink culture had to pave the way so that Get In could be what we're doing today. Fabian has been an awesome mentor and resource for me as I've gotten this thing up and running. So appreciative to have you guys in the studio today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Dude, we sound pretty badass.
Well, that
based on that intro.
I mean,
that intro is insane. You got that nailed. I love it.
It's just like in another life, I think I could have been like an in-stadium PA announcer.
100%.
You have a lot of life left, bro.
I honestly, you're not wrong there. Gentlemen, this is going to be a really fun one. It's not often that we get to bring podcasters into the podcast studio to podcast. Early on, 2017, today in 2025, everyone and their brother has a podcast. And TBD, the jury's still out on who listens to which ones of them, but you guys have clearly done the thing. Over 350,000 downloads since 2017, 200 episodes. You've had countless very inspiring conversations. I want to know where the idea came from. Where was that first text, or like maybe you were grabbing beers or something and you're like, dude, we should start a podcast.
Well, it literally was a text. So.
And it literally said, dude, we should start a podcast. But this was like, I think the conversations really started like at the end of 2016. So at that time, I'd moved to Indianapolis in like at the end of 2010, maybe 2011. I was doing sales at Mercedes. So selling cars at the downtown location, which is obviously the worst of the two because nobody goes downtown to buy cars. You just don't.
Sure.
Hated my life working there. I just felt like I needed to do something creatively. I just wasn't being fulfilled. So Jared and I had met. I started going to your gym at that point, Naptown Fitness, in around 2012, maybe 2013, and we became friends and bonded over like whiskey, beer, and was just like, dude, we should start a podcast. And at that time, we were both listening. And correct me if I'm wrong in any of these details, but we were both listening to this bourbon podcast called Bourbon Pursuit. And we thought, dude, we could do this in Indianapolis. Like, we know a lot.
What is Bourbon Pursuit?
Pursuit of bourbon. So at that time, it was bourbon hunting, right? It was a huge thing. 2016, 2017.
Like finding where they had allocations and like, where's Pappy Van Winkle going to be?
Correct, exactly. Okay. And like this podcast was based out of Kentucky. A couple of gentlemen. You would know more.
Kenny and Ryan.
It wasn't Fred? Who's like the...
No, I know you're thinking of.
Now he's a part owner of that podcast.
Because he's like the like bourbon guy.
Yeah,
totally.
Fred, I can't even think of it.
Minnick.
Fred Minnick.
There you go.
Yeah, because everyone like, you can't pay him for a review. And it's like, if he reviews your thing though, like it does really well.
Yeah.
Like all the bourbon people love Fred Minnick.
Yeah. And I would also say, to add into that, like craft beer was at this time, like it was huge, right? Like that was like the bang of craft beer. So
how hoppy is your IPA?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
the
so
Citra hops.
Yeah. So it was both the bourbon and craft beer that we thought we were experts. And why not be the Indianapolis experts?
Okay. So the original goal was to be Indianapolis's boozy experts.
Yes, and that was like the original. That's where we thought we were going to go with it, because that's a thing we bonded over. That's like, I was taking 1.5-hour lunches to like go to all these random ass like liquor stores to go try to find stuff when it was being dropped off, right? And so we're like, let's just do it about this. And so we got maybe 2 or 3 episodes in, and we're like, we don't know shit about this. Like, we can't, like, we're done. Our knowledge is tapped.
True story.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yes.
Where you're like, yeah, like I know you probably do know a lot more than the average person, but do you know to the extent of like hours and hours of podcasting conversations? Right. At the end of it, it's like, how many times can you say Citra hops on, you know, like, oh yeah, like it's hazy, like West Coast, right?
That wasn't even, like, hazy wasn't even a thing.
It's true.
In 2016, 2017. But so we got tapped out. We're like, okay, we don't know enough, but we're having fun with what we're doing. And luckily, because of Jared's business, there was so many interesting people that were members there, right? And at this time, I think we had like Mike Kelly was one of our first guests.
I think the very first was Adam Odegaard.
Yeah.
And then it was David McIntyre was like number 2, and Mike Kelly was probably number 3.
But
so
David wasn't like a member there.
No, it's true.
Right. But then there was also like Chris Baggett. So you had like these influential people that were building businesses, had built businesses, were in like the entrepreneurial business world here in Indy, that I'm just like, dude, we could start interviewing these people, right? So like over time, shortly, we were like, well, let's shift to that, right? And at that time, and you're going to notice a trend, we just steal ideas from other people and like try to make them our own, right? So we looked at How I Built This and said, why don't we try to do like a hyper local version of How I Built This and tell the story of Indianapolis business owners and entrepreneurs. And so that's where kind of like that transition happened from like the bourbon and beer stuff to focusing more on the business community, the entrepreneurial community, or what we referred to at that time as like cool people doing cool shit in Indianapolis.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. And I feel like the How I Built This of insert your thing here has been done after that a lot more times. Yeah. So it's like there are a lot of people that go by the method of take things that are already out there and, you know, twist them a little bit and make your thing. Exhibit A, you know, it's like what we're doing here is not totally new to the world. It is new to Indiana from the perspective of like talking about the entire state and figuring that piece out. But like, yeah, having people in here and learning about their stories, everyone loves that. Yeah. So you guys put out the first couple episodes. I think that everyone loves the idea of a podcast. They love the idea of getting together with their boys and hanging out and drinking a beer and talking. They love filming it, recording it, and they love, you know, some people love the editing process, like getting your finished product. Where a lot of times people don't love it is you press that publish button on your first episode and you sit back and you're like, where are our millions of listeners? And then you realize how many people listened to the first episode?
Not that many.
2.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say probably, yeah.
Like
those 2 of us.
And then you put out another one.
Yeah.
What kept you going? Like, I think that that's a realization. I think people think you just put out a podcast and all of a sudden, even hundreds of people just come and listen. And it's like, that's not really how it goes. So like, what kept you guys going, and where were some of those milestones that you guys hit along the journey that were like, hey, this is pretty sick?
I just want to give props to Jared. So Jared was already a business owner, right? My mindset was not there. So like when we started, Jared brought this very professional, like business oriented approach to what we were doing. And I brought this consistency of just like, okay, cool. If we're going to do this, we need to commit to every single week for the next 52 weeks, right? Like we have to put out an episode, no excuses. And the thought behind that was just like, the second you make an excuse, and this can be translated to any area in life, once one excuse creeps in, you open the door to a lot more. So that was like the thesis there, right? Like Jared's going to bring in the business side. I'm going to keep us committed and consistent and accountable.
Yeah, I mean, that guiding principle of consistency is really what kind of drove us. Also, at the end of the day, you've already said this, Nate, like it was 2 buddies hanging out, and we forced us to hang out once a week.
Yeah.
And then also have a couple of drinks, which we haven't talked about, like the drink culture double entendre piece yet, but also allowed us to then find other people to learn about. So it's like, selfishly, the first full year, I would say, we were finding people that we wanted to learn about or industries we wanted to learn about. And so we were taking in as much knowledge as we possibly could. So we're growing as individuals, both professionally, socially, everything that you can imagine in that sense.
Yeah.
And that was a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, talk about getting accountability to meet new people,
Totally.
network, you know, I hate that term, but like, to build out your community, to hang out with your buddy, and to like, dive deeper into a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Tell that to my wife.
Exactly, So you commit to 52 weeks.
Yeah.
How quickly on did the Indianapolis community start to have a thirst for what drink culture is putting out?
6 months, maybe even longer. So that's what, 4 times 6, 24 episodes in.
And I will put out, this is 2017. There were big national podcasts, and then there were some small, like, crummy podcasts. Like, not to say crummy, but like just low production.
Yeah.
And so like the idea that everyone had a microphone at their house
Totally.
and could just like put out an Instagram reel, like that did not happen. So discoverability was maybe a little bit harder to go immediately viral, but there was less, I would say, like, Joe Blow with a microphone putting out Instagram reels. So like, how were people discovering you guys?
And another thing to kind of pull back a little bit, like 2014 was Tim Ferriss's first start, right? And that was a huge, so he just hit like 10 years in 2024, 2025. And so like we were brand new in the sense of people finding us. I mean, I think the biggest inflection for us was being in spaces. So so once we decided on the double entendre of like drinking in the culture while drinking in the culture of that individual, but also physically drinking, we then decided to start going to locations. So it was us connecting with, Nate's our guest. So we're connecting with you, but we're also connecting with the business owner of Provider. We're connecting with the business owner of Sun King, Clay. So we're building those relationships and eventually having them on. And the one thing that changed for us is we were mobile. So our podcast was always on site at locations, in which our goal was always for them to kind of treat us with like, hey, what's your specialty cocktail? Okay, we'll drink that. We'll talk about that. Hey, like what kind of other drinks do you want to, or what other food, or what do you want us to do for you to promote you? Yeah. So it's free promotion for those people. That's when people physically started seeing us. And I think that was, I don't know, you could disagree, but that was when people were like, wait, what's going on over there? And then you start to see them pointing at you, which I know you've seen this before in public. And before you know it, you become like kind of pseudo Indianapolis famous, where people are like, wait, what are they?
Hey, that we were at lunch together and we closed that deal. Shout out to the Kelly School of Business.
Hey,
awesome.
We're working with IU,
legit.
The Kelly School of Business.
Yeah.
So it all came from us out at lunch that day.
100%.
There we go. Come on now.
Yeah.
So I love that. So in the beginning, how long did it take for you guys to start doing the on location shows?
I'd probably say first 3 months is when we finally were like, all right, let's pivot this.
So it's almost like guerrilla marketing then.
It was.
Every time you
100%.
record an episode, you're maybe picking up, I don't know, 5 new listeners want to come and check it out. And then if they like what they hear, they're like, oh, I was there. I saw that being recorded, and now I'm going to follow along.
They become a part of the story, right? Like when they're there and they can like see that happening, you're taking a picture, Instagramming. I think, we slowly started getting into events. So we got invited to Creative Morning. So we did a Creative Morning session together with Fabian and I that led the whole thing. I'll never forget like walking out of there, and we had, 300 people there in the stands at the library, Central Library, watching us. And so it was the event-based side of things that really helped us grow. And you got to remember, this was before the pandemic. This is when people were really comfortable with physical human touch and connecting with people. Whereas we're getting better. We're getting back to that. So for us, it was the mobile side, although that was probably the biggest pain in the ass for you because you had to carry around our crates and trays. So this whole setup was with us everywhere we went. Yeah. And that was tough. Because that's 30 minutes, 45 minutes of setting it up. So it's like a 3 to 4 hour journey every time we recorded once a week.
And year one, it's like you committed to doing this. Yep. You're in, and you're, I don't know, probably at a little bit different stage of life, where
back
you had a little bit more free time. I know you guys both have children now, and not so much, that 3 or 4 hours of setting up for a on-site podcast. So I think that's why I love having a studio too. And just the fact of, I think there's a time and a place for both, being able to go out and do something is so fun. But then some of the conversations you get to have in the studio, or we get different trinkets and gifts and all that fun part. I don't know. I could see though, but in 2017, helping discoverability, this is pre-Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
Newsletters, maybe LinkedIn, some places posting about it. But like the best marketing would be, it'd just be so strange to see someone like today. We walk down the streets and you see someone with like a camera and like doing the on the street interviews, and you're like, kind of weird, but like it's pretty normal now. But like back then, I'm sure people were like, "Oh my gosh, those are celebrities."
I got a funny story, but if you got something, go first.
Well, before we move on too far from this, like write it down so you don't forget it.
That's why I brought that up.
We always kind of took this approach. Again, I think credit to Jared was like, we looked at this as a brand, not just a podcast, right? So we kind of always had that in the back of our mind of like, how do we treat this like a brand? And so one of the other things that we stole from this Bourbon Pursuit podcast is they called themselves the official podcast of bourbon. And very early on, we decided to refer to ourselves as the official podcast of Indianapolis, right? Like we wanted to take ownership of telling the story of Indianapolis through the lens of these people that are making things happen. And so I think that aspect of it helped with discoverability because people felt this community around it. And I think that they could feel it from our side of just being so passionate about wanting to uplift the city and taking ownership over how do we make Indianapolis, like how do we let people know how cool it is to live here and be here?
And I think that's a big piece. And I talk to that a lot about not just Indianapolis, but the entire state for us is it's not that it's not cool. It's just the way that Hoosiers talk about things. So if I were to say, I say this a lot. There's a lot of talk tracks of me saying this in recent. It's just been like so
supercut. We need a supercut.
Yeah, it's just been on my mind. And it's like if I said, "That's a really nice shirt."
Thanks, buddy. I got it on sale.
Bingo. Bingo. Thanks, buddy. I got it. That's the Hoosier thing to say. So it's like you ask, "Oh, Jared, you're from the region, right?
I am.
How's the region?"
It's okay.
There you go. Like it's okay. Or it's not bad. Yeah. No one ever drove 2 hours to another time zone for it's okay or it's not bad. Yeah. They did drive up there for 45 miles of coastline and Indiana's only national park.
And Demery Stadium, Maryville High School, right off 65.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like we're so humble that it almost seems wrong to have nice things. But if you lived in LA, you're like, yo, yeah, this shirt, $500, $10K, $10K for the rollie. Let's go. Like, it's just not in our DNA to brag about things.
Right.
So we almost think that it's wrong to have nice things. Like, we have nice things. There are very nice things in the state of Indiana. We just have to change our dialogue a little bit. Yeah. Just like the way that we say, like, no, like, I'm not bragging about it. I'm just proud of what we have here. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
No,
that's my talk.
I like the energy because I had that same, like, I was pissed off when people would, like, either talk badly about Indianapolis or say that we didn't have this, that, or the other thing. And it's just like, dude, you're just lazy. You're not willing to go do the work to know that we actually do have that here. And so that was like, I felt some of that responsibility when we were doing the show to like help prove that to people. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say that's a lot of what we're uncovering too with a lot of the stories we had. You know, there was guests. What was really neat, and you might do this, Nate, as well, but like the biggest thing was like who's a guest you would recommend? Like who is someone in some circle, like very last question of like, who do we need to have on here because we don't know about them?
Yeah.
And I think
and
you do that, right?
Source all your guests.
Exactly.
And then it's like, even if you don't get them on the show, like today just makes, like I just imagine you guys having that, then like fast forward to the Reels age, then I just clip it, put it out, and all of a sudden that person's then hitting, especially if it's like the only one we haven't been able to get, we've had Pat and we've had Caitlin Clark recommended there. And it's like, we have not gotten those two. But almost everybody else, like if you put out a clip saying like someone's recommending them as a guest, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to come on there. Totally. And it's like, and it does your marketing for your show does your outbound lead gen for new guests. Yep. Well, first off, there's a tradition of drink culture that you guys would not only drink in the culture, but you would drink in and hang out. So should we pop a nice weeded bourbon here?
Do you want to? Yeah, do you want to tell them the story?
Yeah. So
we almost started a bourbon business too. So like with drink culture, we literally almost started a whiskey company, but we decided not to.
Yeah. Shout out to our friends over at 8th Day who cooked this up for us. So we had a sponsorship deal with 8th Day for the podcast, and part of that was them making this batch of weeded bourbon for us. And so it's at least, it's almost 2 years old. So it's at least 18 months old. We had how many bottles? Like maybe 50 bottles of this, maybe less, 25.
I'd probably say 25.
So it's pretty limited edition stuff. If you've got a bottle, if you got it from us, like
it's a small batch barrel, and aged.
Drink them if you got them.
Yeah. And to this day, I still think that it's one of the best things that they've ever made.
All right.
But I'm also a huge fan of higher proof weeded whiskey.
I'll ask Matt how he feels about that.
Yeah. Has this been popped?
Oh, no, this is brand new.
This is a fresh pop.
Yeah, hold on. For our ASMR freaks.
Oh,
that was nice,
That was
right?
well done.
I'll let you pour it up, Jared.
right.
But yeah, so part of what we used to do as a tradition on the show, and I think this is what led to getting some of those great stories on our podcast, was just like we would share drinks with people. And typically we did that in a format of like trying 3 different things, right? Whether it was 3 categories of like rye whiskey. So we'd have 3 rye whiskeys or like 3 different IPAs. We would just kind of drink those throughout the conversation. And what would happen is maybe halfway through, those inhibitions come down, right? As they typically do when you're drinking. And you just get into these like side quest conversations that you wouldn't hear anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a magic trick, right?
Yeah.
It's like the drinking allowed you to really just talk freely.
I forgot we used to rate stuff
Yeah.
in the first like 6 months of our episodes. So like we'd have 3 different versions of something, and there were 3 different cocktails, and we would say which one's the best, not greatest. And then like I think we finally got to a point where like we need to stop rating these and just enjoy ourselves. So we stopped doing that.
Yeah, thank
Cheers, gentlemen. I
you.
appreciate.
Is this a first for your show?
No, we've drank a few times.
Okay.
But usually we see, this is the issue too, is
Ooh, that's
good.
chewy.
Yeah.
And spicy, by the way.
chewy. That's good.
I just mean like it's got a lot of profile. It's
Yeah.
got some sweetness to it, so I feel like I can chew it on it like a candy bar.
I'll tell a fun story about one of the times that the last time I drank bourbon on the podcast. I had a bourbon influencer, Dan Kidd, heavy bourbon. I had him on the show. And I said, let's try like 4 local distilleries. I was like, okay. So he brought some he brought 3 bottles from 4 different distilleries, and we drank 12 pours. We did a full 3-hour Joe Rogan episode, uncut, unreleased. We'll never leave the archives, because by the end of it, dude, I ran home from the studio because I could not. I literally had to like physically jog home. And so then after that, I was like, hey, buddy, we had to redo the podcast.
That's funny.
And I had to put him on a pitch count. We could only have 4 bourbons. So pick your favorite 4. And it was a wild episode. So that was the last time we drank on the podcast. So here's to running home from the studio, y'all.
123 proof, by the way. So yeah, be careful on that one. And also, we have a very similar story. Was it the basement of Libertine?
Yeah. Neil Brown.
Neil Brown. There you go.
2.
And he just unloaded his mezcals and tequilas on us at Libertine, and same thing, 3.5 hours long.
There was a sake tasting.
Oh, it was sake. That's right.
Yeah.
Because we learned
So-
about the Japanese or the
It was
Chinese
pretty- this was-
sochu or whatever. as
Yeah, because
well.
I think he was just opening up Libertine
Was it?
down in the basement
Okay.
there on Mass Ave. It's been a couple different things, but remember, Pizzology used to be there on the corner, and then kind of like right next door, there's a bar situation that goes down into the basement. You can get through those doors. So he's like, "Hey, I got to taste all these sakes. Do you guys want to do it with us?" And there was so many bottles. That was our first 2-parter, right?
Yeah.
They went forever. It was good.
Our first 2-parter. I love it.
First of many. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people start a podcast because of, you get to network, you get to, be the host. And then the ones that stick it out, I feel like realize there's a bigger purpose to what they're doing. And it's not just for personal fame or glory or whatever that might be. It is because you're telling stories that need to be told, or you're documenting this thing, like whatever that might be. Where was the moment for you guys that the switch flipped and you realized that you were filling a void that Indianapolis needed, and there was, again, such a desire for our local community that needed to be galvanized?
I would say it was when we started getting to the event space. We partnered up with a Hi-Fi and started doing a live podcast. And that was the moment where people started showing up, buying tickets to actually come watch us do live podcast. We would have a guest on there. I think one time we talked to
Brian Payne.
Yes,
we did
that
one
was
on ending racism.
Yes.
We talked to Lauren Day about and there was other people involved in that one, about the Red Line before the Red Line launch. And then we talked to DT from the Colts
Yep. Okay.
as well. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so people,
Like, how many people were buying tickets?
50, I would say
50
on
to
average.
75, yeah.
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 And so
you're
they're
getting people to come listen to you have a conversation.
Yeah. It was
that kinda
upstairs at the
crazy?
Hi-Fi. They're just sitting there, just watching us, and it was awesome. And then we started getting invited to events. I remember going to the Parks Alliance end of year rally or end of year conference, and we were out in the area there doing episodes with different individuals, really connected in the Indianapolis community as well. And so that was for me, we're just like, wow, people like want this, so this is cool, and it gave you a little bit more of like, okay, I like doing this now.
So give us a relative scale at the end of year 1. How many listeners? like as you guys evaluated if you wanted to do it for another year?
I will tell you that in 1 second, but I will also want to answer the question that you just asked, because I think this is really important. And I think part of what you do also goes to what I'm about to say. So Jared talked earlier about us doing this creative mornings talk, right? And this is maybe a year into having the podcast. So Ryan Hunley, awesome dude, was a big fan of what we were doing. I think he saw the potential and the value in what we were providing to the city, asked us to come do this thing. And after the event, this guy comes up to us and says, "Hey man, my name is Joey. I've been listening to your podcast and I just wanted to let you know that my wife and I just moved here from the region because of your show. We didn't know all this cool stuff was going on." Joey ends up being Joey Potts and Sarah Jean Potts, who own Guide and Anchor, who at the time were doing all the artwork for 18th Street Brewery, now has shifted, has his own agency, and is, when you see something cool that's being done in Indianapolis, artwork related, whether that's a space, whether that's a logo, whether that's a rebrand or a branding for a business, it's them that is doing it, right? And so we saw this thing, at least in my mind, I was like, we are having economic impact. Like, there's fucking people moving to the city because of the stories that we're putting out there, because they didn't know that Indianapolis was doing it like that.
So like what you guys did, you guys brought a mover and shaker to Indianapolis, and it makes you feel like, oh, this isn't about how many events you get invited to or whatever.
Sure.
My husband and I wanted to let you know your podcast was helpful in us deciding to move to Indiana. We are from Southern California. And a couple years ago, with the arrival of our first child, we decided we did not want to stay in California anymore. Long story short, we narrowed the list down to 3 different states. 2 of them had family in them, and Indiana was the only state that did not have family. It was actually the furthest from any family, but it did have 2 friends. God pressed on our heart to come to Indiana, and though we were really nervous, your podcast really helped us to see how diverse the state really was. We've been here since April and already love it. Indiana is like the middle child, often overlooked and not flashy, but when you stop and pay attention, it's truly incredible. Thank you for what you do to show off this place.
That's awesome.
Boom. That's it right there.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about like why we sit in here. It's like, is it for followers? Is it for like, it's because like by elevating stories of people across the state doing impactful things, people can find where they belong.
Right.
In the world.
You
That's crazy.
screenshotted that, right, and put that on your social media?
I haven't put it out yet.
Oh,
No,
you got to put that out
It's
there.
going to be out now.
Okay,
there
yeah,
it is.
perfect.
I was waiting for the right moment because I used
That's-
to, and a little bit I just wanted to like take that in of like, you talk about economic development, you talk about, and in the reality, it's like it's a lot of just storytelling. It's like, how do we tell stories of people across our state that are doing impactful things, and people, the right people will end up here. You know, like the people who care about impact, they want to maybe raise their family, they want to do the things that we get to do here in Indiana. It's like, man, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Connection, community,
Connection,
man.
community.
It's crazy.
Quick little like detour of the chronological order, because I got my first pour of bourbon down, and I'm feeling
Get
good.
him another. Get him another.
Oh shit, it's gone.
As you think through guests that you guys had on, what was the most surprising story? Because sometimes after you've done 200 episodes, there's sometimes where, and just how it is, you go in there and you kind of like have an expectation for how a show is going to go, and it just blows your mind and goes a different way. Is there one that sticks out to you?
For me, it was when we were sitting in Bar 114.
Yeah.
Is that what the name of it?
Yep.
Martha Hoover's spot, the small little listening lounge. Do you know what I'm talking about? No, right there, right next to Patachou on 49th. I want to say it's Bar 114.
Yeah, that's what
okay.
it was.
Okay,
It's like
cool.
right at the end of the block there. It's like
It's right next to
the
the-
room was twice as big as this.
Yeah, Napoli's, isn't that the restaurant? Yeah, right next there. There's a tiny little room. And
Is it a bar?
Yeah, but
It
there's
was a
like
bar,
only spots. It
restaurant,
was like
listening lounge.
Yeah, it was like a listening lounge. So they have like Cole
Is
speakers
it not
everywhere.
there anymore?
I don't think it is. Yeah. So, but it was a very like New Yorky vibe. Like the lights were always very, very dark, very dim. There was just one person up there. They were playing spinning records. So like it was like you said, a music lounge. What?
I just want to say this so you get it right, and then you can finish your story. It wasn't kind of dark. It was dark. They blacked out the windows. They only had those thick ass Italian candles that you see at Italian restaurants where no light gets through, right? The bartender is the DJ and is also the chef.
Yeah.
They don't have a functioning kitchen, so they sous vide the meat and then they fucking flash, burn it. So you get like, it's a rush
sensory
of sensation. Dude,
experience.
it was insane. It was awesome.
So
Go
we're
on.
there, and I've gone on dates there before in the past, and it was pretty cool. It's different, way different. But like you would have to get a reservation because there's literally only like 8 or 10 seats. But long story short is Martha Hoover was our guest, and we had gone after Martha for a while. To your point of like, who can you get on, not get on, and like, again, this is just two random guys that were, started a podcast in Indy, and Martha Hoover's got 17 restaurants and it's all over nationally, and we finally got connected to where her marketing person, is just like, now you've got to have this interview with them. So we have it with her there. And the conversation kind of started a little, slow, of just like, who are you guys? And it was more about like her asking us questions of why we're doing this, what's going on. But then we kind of, again, after a couple of drinks and after some, connection, she started telling us a story that she had just gone on a trip with her husband. Was it to Arizona or somewhere
with the lightning
somewhere
fields,
out
right?
in the desert? And like they went on this like excursion that they weren't expecting, but it turned out to be this like lightning show that people can go out and see. And it was like the most sensual / experiential experience she and her husband have ever had together. And it was like a 30-minute story she told on this episode. And Fabian and I were just there, like jaw dropped. Like I could like visualize what she was saying as she was doing it. And then I'm just sitting back thinking to myself, like, this is Martha Hoover, one of the most influential people in our city since the 80s. And she's telling us a very intimate story about her and her husband and experience she just recently had. It's like, where else are you going to get this from? And that was one that like, it kind of gives me a little chills right now just thinking about it and talking about it. But like, that's one that's always sat with me, where it's like, to have that experience and be able to sit in that seat with her, to hear that story in that moment, in that space. There's no other way we could have done it but with the Drink Culture podcast.
Yeah, you go in there assuming you're going to learn about like the portions of eggs
right?
on an omelet. Like, yeah, the perfect omelet has 5 eggs.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, there's this lightning field in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I love that. I also really enjoyed, if you like ever get the chance, anyone out there, to sit down and listen to Martha or talk with Martha, like, I was also very shocked because we did talk a lot about her building her business, but she has an economics undergrad degree.
Yeah, she was a lawyer, right?
Yeah,
originally
she was in law.
Yeah.
Gave that up to start her restaurant, or the original one. But like when she talks about the economics behind the food system and quality versus value and all, and it's just like some people start restaurants because they're just really good at cooking food and they want to serve other people. She not only wanted to do that, but like just got the deeper piece behind it. And it's no surprise that she built a successful restaurant group because of just the way her brain works. So shout out to Martha. You rock. She's doing a lot of cool stuff with Longer Table. Don't quote me on this. Stop food insecurity in central Indiana. Very cool. And doing it in a way, there's this research where if kids have good food, they're going to get better they're going to show up for school every day. Like all these things, because school lunch is...
Yeah. She's been involved in that for a while, even before.
The Patachu Foundation has kind of shifted, I believe, with everything that happened, with like her no longer owning Patachu. And so I think it's now called A Longer Table. And she's just working to, like, talk about going out to solve a problem. She's going out to solve a problem. Like kids in Central India, kids in anywhere should not be worried about where their next meal is coming from. I think everyone on any side of any aisle, anywhere, should agree that kids should not be worried about where their next meal, and that the meal is not shit, respectfully.
Agreed.
There we go. All right, cool. We're all in agreement there?
100%.
All right. So that was one of the conversations that changed, just like you did not expect going in there.
Correct.
Talk to me about the journey. So you guys decide to keep doing it. You end up doing it for 2 more years. Mm-hmm. You have spectacular conversations. Was it always on site for 3 years?
Up until the very end, Miles Herndon at the time in Gavel Coffee Shop, he gave us a spot to just like, hey, we've got this corner if you guys want to have it. Because I think at the time we were like making a hard pitch for people to be like, give us a studio. And so he was kind enough and generous enough to give us a studio. So we did that for like the last 6 or 7 months. Yeah. Yeah. And just have like a dedicated spot.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to forget, I want to throw this out there before, if we do forget, but we did have a third person jump on with us, Haley. I know you, or fellow Haley
Shout
Brown.
out Haley.
Now Haley Cazares, correct? Yes. And she jumped in and helped us as like a third host, because the one situation, Fabian had mentioned this, like I really want to create this as a business. Like I wanted to do this also for us, but also to like actually make this something. Our goal from day one was to work him out of a job. He was kind of in the middle of going through some sales training, working through some tech sales, going through some sales boot camps and everything. It was just like, let's try to make enough here to where you can always have a job like as the Drink Culture podcast. Come to find out, it's not necessarily a Drink Culture podcast, but podcasting in general is now his full-time job, which is awesome. And it all came from this. But having the two of us only doing this weekly, it did become, I mean, you know this, you said you put out 3 a week. Like, it is a lot of work to do that. Even doing 1 a week was a lot of work.
You're just having conversations.
Yeah, no way.
Like, what? You just get to talk for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
And then, so then we had, 3 of us that were co-hosting, doing some tasks. We were meeting monthly, having like big vision. We used to meet at the Old Quills right on the canal. I don't know if you've ever been there before. And they had like a small little meeting room. Like, you can get a coffee and then actually just go into a meeting room. Actually, I think that's a business model that other coffee shops could vastly use, because you can get there early, grab your coffee, and you just go have a whiteboard between you and your friends and do whatever you need to do.
And you could create a million really cool businesses.
Yeah. Correct.
All from, we need to up the amount of whiteboards in coffee shops.
I would agree. Yes. 100%. And then over time, we ended up actually calling out for volunteers. And we ended up getting some volunteers just locally who were connecting with our podcast to start becoming a part of our team as well. So we ended up building Drink Culture to be a team of, I think, 5 or 6 of us. We had a videographer, because in the beginning, we did no video. There was video, and podcast didn't really exist in 2017 or 2016, 2017. But yeah, we got a team together. And
Shout out to Tim on video, Jeff on audio, Michelle helping back end project manage, and Cole for helping market stuff.
Totally. So it was, before you know, like, we had a team of like 6 of us meeting on some Sundays to like, what is this going to look like? And that's where the business side of things started coming in, where it's like, could we create Drink Culture in other cities? Could we do like a do 317, like do like this?
Barstool, right? Like, I think Barstool at that time was doing not franchising, but they were having their spinoffs for their own
Viceroy
cities.
program. Yeah.
So there's like a month or two where we put out ideas of like, could we create like a license or affiliate in like Cincinnati? Or
why didn't you?
Too much work. And honestly, it kind of felt like, have you ever heard of the icon problem before?
No.
So the icon problem is when the business owner is the business. And everyone associates that business with you. And as soon as you try to replace yourself or create, like, build an apprentice or have a co-host or some of that, it's not you. And for us to find the personality and the combination, the mixture, the back and forth that he and I can have, or the relationship we can have, to find that in another city like that, sure, it's going to take a little while to ramp people up, but to find that person, to find good people to do that, is the challenge.
This is so fascinating. Okay, so I've been actively thinking about this. So
you should.
We were so ahead of our time, Jared.
Dude, really? So this is why, like, I do not write our newsletter. Goes out to over 15,000 Hoosiers twice a week. I don't touch it. That's Shane out there. He's in charge of that. We have a South Bend newsletter that's run by Elena on our team. I don't touch that. Like, I might look over it and like you give feedback, but I'm not like actively being the person pushing the buttons, because Nate Spangle is not scalable. Like, totally. And this is the other piece that's interesting. If our mission is to elevate stories of Hoosiers, the way that I do it does not resonate with everyone in Indiana. Like, me getting really loud and saying, I just ate 5 tenderloins. Blah, blah, blah. Like, there are people that hate.
So self-aware. I love this.
Every video I put out.
I've seen a couple of your comment tags and posts of people you circle, and you're like,
yeah. Well, one, it's like, but like, if we're building a company that is bigger, than just like Nate getting paid to eat tenderloins or do whatever, it's like, well, there are people that don't look like me, that don't talk like me, they don't like what I like to do, but they're still in Indiana. And there's a place for them, and like, that story needs to be told. So where we're headed towards is being able to tell all of these stories and amplify the voices that are doing great things in Indiana. That doesn't always have to be the like very energetic, like, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. It's great. But like, you're totally right that it's hard.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. And so that was what kept you guys from really like diving full on into growing Drink Culture in that way?
Part of it, I think now we're getting to the point in the timeline where we're getting close to COVID, and we're getting close to Jared having his first child, and we're getting close to the period where Haley is really starting to climb the ranks at her company, right? So you have this convergence of all of these different things coming together. And I've always been very open and vocal about this, but like, a lot of the responsibility for Drink Culture at the end of the day on like the logistical side came down to me, right? So the convergence of all these things, right? Like, we're doing more episodes. We are starting families. We're getting higher up in our careers. Like, all that stuff starts to really wear you thin as a team to where you can't really pursue these bigger goals, right? And when your entire business model going into trying to license or franchise or get out to other cities is based on telling local business stories and selling local business sponsorship.
Yep.
And then something like COVID hits and it's so uncertain as to where local business is heading. You can't ask those people for money. You can't have them on your podcast. Hey, tell me about what's going on, because those stories suck, right? Those people are shutting their doors. Those people are having to fire people, right? So like this whole thing just starts crumbling. And for a while, for a few months, because that happened in March, we ran it through July. There was no end in sight. It went from 2 weeks to multiple years, right? And we didn't know what was going to happen. And so it just felt like the right time to like walk away and say, hey, we had a great run. This is probably the right time to call it, right?
Yeah.
How hard was that decision to make?
It was incredibly hard. Yeah. And you can go back and listen on Spotify only to the episodes where we had, and I think that's one of the things that really...
You guys have a Spotify exclusive deal? Like you guys sold the podcast?
That's actually a mistake Spotify? And a regret of ours that we can share later.
But that's one of the things that we were always like, I think influenced by the startup podcast of like them recording candid conversations and just being very vulnerable and transparent, where we had these conversations as a group of like, where does this go? Why is this ending? And it's not just everybody agrees, because not everybody agreed with Fabian of saying we need to end this, right? Like people are saying there's other ways we can keep this going. But I think ultimately it was the right call.
Hindsight, 5 years later, 5 years from your last episode, you would still agree that this is the right decision?
I mean, I say, yeah.
I think for me personally, 100%, because
I
started a business.
You went from not a business owner to, I would say, a subject matter expert on podcasting in Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, and you were able to go from, I don't know exactly what your full-time career was during that time, but I know that like since I've known you, it's been all podcast.
Yeah.
And like being able to start, and again, that was the original idea. Like the whole thing is like, hey, we want to get this going so that like, this could be your thing.
Right.
And now you have a thing that came, I would say, largely in part from the success that you guys had with the pod.
100%. Like it's solely responsible for it. Yeah. I wouldn't be doing what I do today if it wasn't for that podcast.
And there were many like thoughts and opportunities for us to like, hey, can we, sell this to the Indie Chamber? Can we sell this to
were they interested?
IBJ? Who's that?
Were they interested?
I mean, we didn't really go deep in any of those conversations because at the same time we were just like, well, this is just a thing, and we just kind of did it as a passion project of ours as well.
I think the question would be like, how much money did you guys end up? And I don't care if you were cool sharing. Like, did you guys? Was it a profitable venture?
Yeah, I think thousands.
2019. 2019 we had 20 grand. We made in revenue. So 20,000.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's true. That's not a lie.
And it was just from local sponsorships.
But it's not like you guys were making buku bucks here.
We were not in 2025, right? No. Being able to charge 2025 prices. I'll tell you that much.
No, I don't know what 2025 prices are. You know what I'm saying.
So. Yeah. And like you didn't have the other properties. Like I think my biggest is like, we have a ton. We have 13 different media properties within this. Wow. So it's like from Instagram accounts to newsletters to blog posts to like all these different to TikTok accounts, YouTube. Like there's 13 different properties that spread throughout Get Indiana. It's like you guys had, I believe, a podcast to start and then added a newsletter in.
Podcast, newsletter. I mean, we had the Instagram account as well, website. But I mean, we were also living in a world where people weren't investing the amount of dollars that they're investing in local podcasts. Yeah. Not to speak of the larger podcast economy as well, that also wasn't being invested in as heavily.
And it's like a local bar, like even in 2025, like they don't have $10,000 to spend on marketing with a podcast,
Right.
And so figuring out the economics of that in 2025 has still been interesting, and I feel like works a little bit better than it does in 2020. And again, like you think of the culmination of all these things comes together, and it's kind of like, I would say like wrong place at the wrong time, maybe, instead of like right place, right time.
And we've talked about that before, where like maybe we were just early on what we were doing in a sense of like making this an actual business with the Drink Culture podcast, because now, like to your point, Nate, there's a lot of people have done this and created this model. And question for you is like, how did you figure out your pricing for what you've got going? Because I remember him and our figuring out our pricing was like, hey, what number do you want to throw out there? We're like, I don't know. And we just threw a number out there. And the first business that said yes, we're like, cool. Then the next business was like, let's add $25 to that. And then threw that out there and they said yes. And the next, it just.
Yeah. My big piece to start was I wanted to work with brands that had statewide distribution.
Got it.
And so like pretty quickly I realized that the local businesses,
It's so tough.
I want to be able to promote them for free. And I want brands on the other side that like know that what we're doing works and like they can sell. I'll just like call it a few of our sponsors. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance can sell insurance in all 92 counties. And Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance will do better if my video highlighting the Marengo Tavern in Southern Indiana does well and gets 500,000 views because they're a partner of us, and like more people will see my content, more people will see them. Like, so the economics work because the partners that we work with are big and have statewide or national reach and those type of budgets versus like trying to convince 50 people to go to the local coffee shop.
Dude.
Not saying that's a bad model. Like,
that was a huge issue for us.
Yeah.
And you just nailed it. Like the locality of being a local podcast kind of screwed us to make this an actual viable business for the future, unless we took it nationally and did like the whole affiliation or licensing, which we just didn't have the bandwidth for at the time.
And so that's why we're like investing. Like we just announced like our acquisition of the Fisher's Digest, and we're working on spinning up some more of those where our statewide partners, they want to get access into South Bend. We have a South Bend newsletter. It has around 5,000 subs. We have a local writer. So Nate's not writing it. Our local writer up there. It's like, hey, we're doing a pop-up Rare Saint whiskey event in South Bend this weekend. Great. Here you go. Like, we're going to put you up. We're going to pump you out in that newsletter. And then I can also increase my distribution into those markets too. Where it's like when I was up there visiting, we pumped that out in the South Bend newsletter. And they're like, oh my gosh, like Nate was up here. Great. But when I'm not up there, we have a local person up there that wants to have a little bit of a platform. It wants to be able to talk. Elena wants to share what she loves about 574 in South Bend. So it's interesting. I don't know the answer. When it comes to pricing, it's like we are a premium product. I would say no one's doing like willing to go everywhere.
Right.
Like I wake up early and I get on, like yesterday I was on the road. I went to Fort Wayne and I spent the day and I worked in Fort Wayne and I
Did you
visited.
pay for a driver?
No, not yet.
Come on, man. I listened to your Tiffany episode.
Yeah. Shout out to
pay
I
for
I might,
a driver.
I know. I think I might like work that into
You
whoever
need-
our next employee
you
is.
need to.
Like, hey, be my personal driver. But no, but but again, at the stage of life that I'm at, like I'm 28. My girlfriend lives in Florida, so like I really have unlimited time.
Yeah.
And I just like tomorrow we're going to Evansville and we'll spend 24 hours in Evansville, maybe. But it's like we're gonna get all the content that we need there and visit the fall festival and then from
Donut Bank. Hit up Donut Bank.
Oh, I love Donut Bank. It's fire. But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like we figure it out and we put ourselves at I will be honest, the top of the market there.
Well, if you're going to the national corporate, the Indiana-wide brands, you can do that. When you're going to...
Yeah.
Dude, funny story. Do you remember our first sponsor? Central State Brewing.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
our friend Jake was one of the co-owners of Central State Brewing. Great brewery doesn't exist anymore. And so he approached us about sponsoring because we were also very vocal about looking for sponsors for the show. And we're like, all right, hell yeah, dude, he's interested. So Jared, like, all right, what do we charge him? We're like, $500 an episode. Bet. That sounds good. That sounds good. So we sent him the email. And if you guys know Jake, he's like very blunt, very matter of fact. He goes, I can do $25. And we said yes, because people didn't need to know what other people were paying, but it opened the door for other people to be like,
there's a sponsor. I can sponsor this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you build on top of it. But
Yeah.
$25.
That's true. I totally forgot about
Shout
that.
out.
But it works.
Central
then
State Brewing. Hey, respect him for shooting you straight, but I think that he
won.
like the value was somewhere between 500 and 25, and I don't think it was 25.
But to your point earlier, like how many listeners do we have at that point in time? I don't know, maybe 50.
Okay, so you're at 350,000 total downloads. You say one of the biggest regrets was going Spotify only.
Oh yeah, so we just actually
Not my
found this.
choice.
We just found this out the other day. So like you talked about like when we closed up shop, like we didn't really know how to close this up as a business. We did have a tax ID number, so we had to close it up with our accountant because we were paying taxes on it and all this stuff. But we were always, and I know he said 100% the right decision. We had always him and hawed on whether we should bring this back. Like there's probably once a quarter for the last 4 years, he sends a message like restart drink culture. And I'm like, yeah. And then I send him a text just randomly be like, restart drink culture. And he's like, yeah. And we've met and we've actually fired up a couple episodes that we've thrown out there of him and I potentially bringing this back.
How'd they do?
I don't know.
I didn't even look.
Hey, there's an office right next door. You want to drink culture?
It's harder.
Again.
It's harder with a family. Like I will say 100%.
If you could just come in and have a space over here.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that sold advertising on your podcast from his statewide partners.
Everyone that want to meet with us was in the evenings, and I don't give up evening time anymore. That's for my kids and my wife, and so like that's tough.
I'm just saying, there's a nice studio could be next door.
What we did was we didn't forget. We just stopped paying for our hosting fees. Libsyn was a perfect example where Libsyn had all of our data. That's where most of our episodes went through there and then shot out everywhere else. And we just didn't because we didn't really think about it, didn't really care anymore. And he found out recently that after 2 years?
Yeah, after 2 years, they just wipe your data. So because I was like, oh, maybe we will bring it back again, right? That thought got into my brain. And so I was like, well, let me get everything back up. Because I was starting to
prep
do
for
more.
this, we were like, oh, people might actually go try to find drink culture. It's like, and then I went to Apple, tried to play every episode in Apple, and none of them play. And I'm like, Fabian, what's going on? And so he did some digging and found out that Libsyn said that if you don't pay within 2 years, they just cloud wipe everything. So all of our episodes on
Another
Apple.
reason that we hate data centers.
I mean,
so now I have to go through the process of going through old hard drives, trying to figure out if I still have those final versions of files, and then upload each one individually.
which I don't know if you're gonna,
again?
I don't know if you're gonna do that. I don't know if you have time for that.
Yeah,
But that's why we said on Spotify.
Spotify didn't kill it.
Spotify didn't. We have our last 100 episodes are live on Spotify.
Only your last 100?
Only last 100 because similar thing where I guess they delete. So just that's another thing about this whole content creation world we live in. Like things live in a cloud, but then you don't really have control over that anymore. Like if that business goes bankrupt and is out of business, there goes all your stuff.
Hey, shout out Libsyn. Please do not go bankrupt. my whole last couple years of work, my body of work would be there.
Well, that's what we talk about. Like drink culture is over, but it's a portfolio for us. But it's no longer a living portfolio to that extent, and that's frustrating because it's like $200 a year.
So, what was the biggest regret?
Not paying for Libsyn.
Not paying the Libsyn. Yeah, being like
$200,
$7 a month.
Yeah.
Right, to keep
which
it
we
alive.
just didn't know.
That was just one drink to keep the culture alive.
Yeah. So then some of our links on our website are completely dead, and so like now it looks like kind of like a half-assed defunct business when in reality when it was live it was legit.
So take us through. You guys have been talking about relaunching. You've been talking this, that. Should you do it? Should you not do it? Catch us up.
Here's where the bottleneck gets created because I think the energy and the passion for it is definitely there. The thing that stops me from actually going, partly you, right? You're already doing it. And so I don't want to gaslight people and say, we're only going to come back, but we're going to be different. And then we're not different, right? We're just telling the same stories that Nate's already telling. Like, where is the value to the listener in that, right? So unless there's a different approach and a different way that we can tell those stories, it's not worth it to me to bring it back because it wouldn't fulfill me, right? We're back to the beginning of like, I'm not fulfilled at my job. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think I would have the energy to just do the same thing again because I don't think it would work. Right? Like you're doing too good of a job for that. And there's other people that are doing it as well.
Thank you.
Right?
It's interesting. I think it also goes back to like the way in which, because you are right that there's only a certain amount of stories to tell. You know, like there's not an unlimited amount of really, there's a lot of them, but there's not like 1 million crazy Hoosier stories.
Right.
Maybe there, I don't know. Should I be saying that? But like, so that is interesting. But on the other side, the way that you guys tell it and do it is different.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know. I don't know if there is, I don't know the right answer to that.
So here's the idea that I had. And if there's anybody listening,
I got two ideas as well.
If there's anybody listening and you want to help out, I'm willing to do it, but I just can't do it alone. And I don't have the money to pay you. Get this. There's a number, a telephone number. You see it everywhere. Eventually, you're like, why do I keep seeing this telephone number? Why is it here? You call the number. The number is this voicemail that tells you, hey, drink culture is coming back. right? There's like this weird music in the background. It's telling you drink culture is coming back. But we want to hear from you, the people that live here. What are the stories you want to hear about? What is something weird about Indianapolis? Like, what is just this rumor that you've heard or something, right?
What's a question you want answered?
Yes. That voicemail starts the episode. And we work backwards from the voicemail.
I'm invested.
To tell the story, right?
I will personally write the check today.
If you've ever heard of Reply All, great, one of the best podcasts ever created is called Reply All. It starts in this very similar way, where they work backwards from this question and you find the different people, and it's not an interview, it's a story. And you find the different people that help you find the answer to this question, right? But it's like, it's drink culture in a new version. And it's not just like you're talking to people, it's your
dude.
So anyway.
We got real estate next door. It's yours. Set up the studio. I'll help advertise. I will put this, I will fund whatever. This is sick. We need this. Like, because it's the perfect mix of modern talk radio where they're like, call in and tell us about your, like that's, and you could have that for, like the line could be for multiple shows too. Like there could be a story that someone calls in and is like, Nate, we need you to answer what's going on with Daniel Jones? You know, I don't know, for example.
Caitlin, I came up with this idea. I'm talking to your wife right now. She's listening. So just like jot that down so people can't take it from me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, people need to read this receipts. I am 100% in. I think that's
do you like the idea?
Dude, that's phenomenal.
So what I like about that, I don't know if this is what you're thinking. Like my two ideas, if we were to bring something back, it would have to be more episodic in a sense of like there's a section of episodes versus like the weekly thing just drives me nuts. Like knowing that weekly, because I know you like to go on vacation, you like to travel, you like to do things, you like to be with your family.
You guys like to do that?
I know, right? Like, and having a weekly anything makes that very, very challenging to do because then you have to
seasons, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I will
Exactly.
fund season 1. Whatever for like all the staff that we need, whether it's using ours or
This guy's getting all
I'll fund
like
season
shows
1
right now.
for
I
sure.
like it.
And my partners would love that. Like this is something so impactful. We figure out the way to make it, like the logistics to make it happen.
Right.
So that like you get to do what gives you energy, and we'll work with our different editors, our different people to like make this thing happen. I'll fund season 1. I think that would be so impactful. And it's something, and again, it's different because I tell stories of the entire state of Indiana.
Right.
And I think that some stuff that comes on the hotline could be valuable to us here. Like I could answer a question that a caller has on this show.
Yeah.
And like, but it would almost be a little bit of like true crimey, where it's like you find a voicemail that comes in. Denise is asking why.
I'm telling you,
whatever.
Listen to one episode of Reply All.
Yeah.
I'll even give you the episode to listen to, and you'll hear what I'm trying to talk about and what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
And
So
how
it's not like hot takes. It's not like someone calling in because there's that guy in the New York subway that does the hot takes. Have you ever seen that? He's got like 100 million followers.
No,
and
it's
stuff.
not hot takes. It's just like there's a rumor about a body that got found in the river or something, right?
Not a Nate story.
Right.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying like, hey, I've always heard about this thing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just making up this example, right? Work backwards from their question and find the people that can help us answer the question or tell the story.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
And it would be like, I've heard that there's a river underneath downtown Indianapolis, but I've never heard. And you're like, yes, Pogues Run. And then like you bring on the Department of Public Works.
Yes.
Like, this was created to divert water away. Like, and then we probably, like sometimes we would already know the answers. And like maybe you bring on a historian or this, that. Dude, 100%. We're in season 1, 10 episodes.
It kind of reminds me how you shared how you like kind of ventured off and started your own thing because of the Indy 11 story. Like you're just like, I want to get on that now. So it's
And like, dude, 100% this needs to exist. And there's a studio potentially right next door.
I think it's a commission off the studio.
I'm also no, I would give it to you for free. I would just sell ads into the show. Come on.
So we need to figure out, like we're getting into the weeds here, but we need to figure out revenue split, how that's going to work. But
dude, yeah.
And I think we have the right partners to bring in just to help like with because I think the critical part of this is the intrigue of the number, right?
Yeah.
Where is it? How do we get it up there? This even makes me think about West Fork whiskey and them heavily investing into billboards, right? Just as a better way to market, an old school way to market versus like investing heavily in.
Well, I don't know. You tell us. Is this idea worth pursuing? Like,
Clip it.
I'm already in. But I want you to tell us, like, does Indianapolis need this style of storytelling?
Yeah.
By the way, future guest, bring ideas to Nate and pitch businesses, and like the dude will just sign.
This is why like, we continue to grow. Nate's personal checking account doesn't continue to grow, but I'm all in on
Long
this.
game.
I
Long
love
game.
it. I love it. Not to say that your 2 ideas that you also have, Jared, aren't important.
they're bad.
But like, let us know now.
Yeah.
I'm happy to dive into them.
No, I mean the idea is for me, we're just make it more just episodes or seasons,
Yeah.
so that way it's not stressful. And then the other one was just bringing back old guests to do like a rehash, like reunion story. You know, I'm a big, Saved by the Bell, and my favorite shows are always the reunion one. So
What is it? You're the only person that didn't like Karate Kid but liked Cobra Kai.
there you go. But being able to tell everyone's story, like where is this person now? What are they doing now?
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of the
All
story.
right, sign
story
me up. I'm
we
in
have.
for 2 shows. Drunk culture.
There you go.
Jeez.
Drank culture.
Yeah, drink. Yeah.
There you go.
Drink in the culture.
Gentlemen, this has been so fun. We're coming towards the end of the show. I'd love to know if you look back on those 3 years of hosting the show, of the 5 years since then, what your favorite moments and what are the moments you still talk about today from your time hosting the show?
Getting a day dedicated to us in the city from the mayor was probably the coolest thing that's ever happened because of the podcast. One of the coolest things that's ever happened because of the podcast. July 19th, 2019, Drink Culture Podcast Day. What's up?
Nate's like to-do list.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Governor. I'm looking for the Sycamore of the Wabash. I'm just trying to be the youngest person to win that award. I won't lie.
Hey,
Come on.
let's go.
Just kidding, but not really.
That's your answer?
That's a spectacular.
You could do your second one. What's your
That's
second
so
one?
impactful.
We had a 2-year anniversary party
Ooh, that was cool.
at Upland in Fountain Square. And just to get all those people together to kind of celebrate what we had done was like awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's a little bit more emotional, I guess you'd say. Connections, friendship. I mean, Fabian and I are still really good friends to this day. Haley and I are still really good friends to this day. We were both, I unfortunately wasn't able to make Haley's wedding, but like we're both invited to Haley's wedding. Like that was just a random connection that she messaged us and was like, hey, I want to do what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Can I be a part of this? And then we brought her on. And then since then, it's like, it literally feels like a brother-sister relationship amongst the three of us.
Kudos to her for having the
As a 21-year-old?
Yeah, to be like, I want to. Hey, you guys are doing something cool. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and now she's 30 now, and she's crushing it in her own world. But yeah, just being able to use that platform of drink culture to then still have the friendships we have together today,
Dude.
And Fabian is a great example. Dude's back at the gym now. He left us hanging for a long time, and now he's back at Myriad Fitness. And Haley's there as a member as well, so I get to see them on a daily basis.
The gang's back together.
It is, yeah.
Well, the gang's going to be back together again for drunk culture. Drunk culture.
That's true, too.
Whatever we end up calling the indie hotline, whatever it might be. Name still pending.
I love name brainstorming.
I know when that. Come on. Gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show where we talk all things Indiana. This next question is brought to you by our friends at JC Hart. They are a leader in creating enjoyable living experiences at apartment communities all across Indiana and beyond. Check them out at homeisjchart.com. My question for you, gents, why do you call Indiana home?
Born and raised in Maryville, Indiana, and I always disliked Indianapolis because we always lost to Indy in every championship. I played a lot of sports as a kid, and we always lost to Indianapolis teams. To come down here and play college soccer and then make this my home, where I started a business in 2011 and have not left since and will not leave, and met my wife here, have kids here. We're building downtown right now, so we plan on being here for a really long time. We've already talked about it, but the connection, the community, cost of living, just downtown, it's such a small world, and you get to know everybody. So that's Indiana for me.
Fabian?
So I grew up in Illinois. I went to high school in Indiana.
Oh, right.
I went to college in Indiana.
Okay.
Met my wife in Indiana. Got my first job, big boy job in Indiana, right? A lot of things happened here that make me love this place. So that makes it feel like home. But I think more importantly than that, and Jared kind of touched on this, is, and I'll look right at the camera here.
Ooh.
Indianapolis particularly is a city where you are one email or text away from getting connected to, maybe two at the most, from getting connected to whoever you want to get connected to, and they will meet with you, right? You have to have it. There's a lot of prerequisites to sending that email. There has to be a purpose. You have to have a passion. You have to know why you're meeting or why you want to meet with this person. But you are 1 to 2 emails or texts away from meeting with whoever you want to.
We'll just say 1.
And you can do whatever you want here. You can do whatever you want here. I swear.
Visit Indy. You can use this from us. Indianapolis, you're 1 call away from changing your life.
I like it.
Come on.
Done.
Let's go.
Call the hotline.
It's call the hotline. Oh my, the tagline. The tagline is there. It's so true though. Granted, it's not like you can just like call up your local billionaire and say, give me a job. But like if you're like, again, my first call when I left Powder Keg and had this podcast was to the CEO of Sweetwater, Mike.
Chuck. Oh, Mike.
No,
yeah.
well, we had Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck had been gone at this point.
Yeah.
Mike Clem. And I said, Mike, I need help. I'm starting a podcast. I'm starting this media company. I want to build all the, like I explained where we would be at today.
Yeah.
This was back in the summer of 2024. And he said, great. This is my head of sponsorship. Meet them. And Tyler took care of me. And here we are.
Yeah.
And they were my first sponsor and they helped us build the studio. And it's like, it wasn't just like a, hey, I want to podcast full time. Will you help me? It was like, here's what we're doing. Here's the momentum we currently have. Like, I need your help. And
It's the
people show up.
prerequisites, right?
Yeah.
Like all the things that lead up to
Dude,
it. Yeah.
I love it. So true. You're 1 call away from changing your life in the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis.
Call the hotline.
Call the hotline. 1-800-HOOSIER. Maybe text the hotline too?
Yeah.
No, we need the audio.
Yeah,
we
we
need the
gotta
audio
have the
snippets.
audio,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, these are the same 3 questions that I ask every guest that comes on the show. First, we're going to go, Fabian, Jared, boom, 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 boom. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
I'll give a shout out to my friends at Gookman House. The best IPAs are being made in Indianapolis right now.
At Googman House?
At Gookman House.
All right. People need to know that Indianapolis has the best IPAs and they're at Googman House.
They're at Googman House, yes.
They have 2 fun locations. I haven't been to the new one yet.
Me neither.
But I've been to the older one on the west side.
Yep.
West
Like
side?
over by
Near
16
West
Tech?
Side? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Go
Great
there.
place.
Yeah.
Good vibe. All right. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
Connection. We just talked about it with the 1 email away. Like you can come here and get connected with nearly almost anyone you want. I was sitting in a neighborhood meeting yesterday and trying to make some changes on 16th Street. And within like 5 minutes, I had like a list of people. I'm like, oh, we need to talk about that. Talk to that person, this person, this person, this person. I walked through and there were 2 influential people in our city government, city alliance, I guess you would call it, that immediately is like, oh, well, they know we're meeting in here. Why don't we just talk to those people right now who can make a huge impact for us?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's the one thing that's like, if you want to get connected, you want to be a part of something, and it's not just Indianapolis, it's the rest of the cities as well.
Yeah. It just takes a little bit of effort. Like just a tiny little bit. Like if you just start pushing your car a little bit there, people are willing to help it. This is where we uncover a part of Indiana that more people need to know about. A specific thing that's not getting enough love. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
I really enjoy a nice cigar to relax. And like it gives me 90 minutes to 2 hours of just like me time. I have 2 kiddos. I have a business. I have lots of things going on. So like me time is super important for me. So, and once I have a cigar, usually leads into a conversation as well with somebody else. And then I walk out of that and I'm just in an exponentially better mood. But Blend Cigar Bar on 86th Street is my favorite place to go to grab a cigar. This may have been mentioned before in the past. If not, Fabian and I, you can find us there usually on a Friday, especially in the wintertime. And just have a nice 90 minutes together, have probably a small little pour of whiskey and a nice little cigar. And that's like my number one vice that I have in life. Like I wish I didn't smoke cigars, but like it does just bring me just fluidity and joy.
Yeah. Blend on 86th.
82nd.
Dean.
I'm calling in the hotline. Is it 86th or is it 82nd? Answer the question. Because like that would be one that would be pretty easy to answer and talk about where it changes over. But I digress. Fabian, what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Lake Maxinkuckee.
Yeah.
Bro, and don't go there. I'm looking at all of you. Don't go there and mess up my summers. Not that I summer there. I don't summer anywhere. But
Just
there's
so
a
you guys
specific weekend in August that I love to go. Don't go
He went to
there.
Culver Academy, so
Did you really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So you used to summer there. No, you used to winter there.
I wintered there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he's like, yeah, little did you guys know he stopped drink culture and then made $10 million and bought a house on Maxinkuckee.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's where, I mean, we, what was that, 2-3 years ago?
Yep.
We did the Lake Max try.
Yep.
That's
like
great.
one of my annual trips. I absolutely love it.
What led you to go to Culver Academy?
Do you want to start another podcast right now? Like another full episode?
Yeah, damn. All right.
It is a good story,
Maybe we
by the
make this
way.
a quarterly catch up.
Yeah.
On the next episode of Get In Culture, we're going to talk about why Fabian went to Culver Military Academy. Was it military? Yeah, it is military.
But yeah, like Max.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Just because
awesome.
you said that, I'm already like, I pictured the picture
Yeah,
you showed me of yourself
absolutely.
when you were 16. Yeah.
Anyway,
I really want to see that. Okay, final question, gentlemen. This is where we source new guests. This is where we learn about other people within Indiana that are doing crazy cool things. They could be outside of Indiana as long as they have ties to Indiana. Who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
Tinker Coffee, Steve Hall. I don't know if you've heard that or have him
Yeah,
on yet.
I have
Steve is awesome in so many ways. Tinker Coffee as a whole has a very unique, interesting business model where they started off that was actually one of our first episodes. Remember that when we first walked in there? But where they started just making coffee through beans and roasting beans, and people would walk in there, didn't even know they were just a roastery, and then eventually started sourcing out all their coffee, and then eventually started doing coffee shops, and that was like relatively intentional on their part, and it's just a really cool story to hear. But also they are like at every event, like they don't say no to events when people need a community event or like coffee donations. Not to like throw Steve out there and Tinker of like, yeah, they do everything, but
Free coffee.
They literally are community first, Indianapolis first, Indiana first, and it's awesome. They do a great job.
Heck yeah. I love that. We're going to have him on.
people need to know about my pickleball coach, Rick Whitskin. This dude is like Indiana, Zionsville, Indianapolis tennis legend.
Did his son make it, or uncle? This is the second time that a Whitskin.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell the
really?
story.
So, okay, so his brother Todd was like a top 10 ATP tennis pro. Unfortunately died. I believe it was a brain tumor. So now he's got this whole other brand called Ripskin. Like, he literally carries his brother's honor through him all the time. But he was top 10 pro in the 90s, died unexpectedly. But Rick is so involved in juniors and like high school tennis, but also bringing pickleball to the younger generation. He will go down in the Hall of Fame as a senior pro pickleball player. He also founded the NPL, which is the National Pickleball League, which is the premier league for 50 and over pickleball players. They're just now opening that up in 2026 for players 40 and over. So he's giving an opportunity for these older athletes that are maybe not young enough to compete with the current pros on the PPA tour to go somewhere else. So they just had Danny Werfel here, former Heisman Trophy winner, NFL quarterback. He's part of their league. Vince Vaughn is an owner in one of the teams for the NPL. So he's doing awesome stuff out of Zionsville, Indiana. Incredibly charismatic guy, and is launching his new podcast, This Is Pickleball, at the end of October.
Well, I'm going to need to have him as a guest.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
I would love that.
So I had Dalton Thieneman from Cracked Rackets.
Yeah.
I had Dalton on.
Oh, I just met him when we talked about
He's
you.
great.
Yeah.
I just had him on, and he talked about
Rick?
he said Todd Whitskin.
Yeah, that's his brother who passed. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like absolute legend. Crazy. This is wild that in a span of less than 7 days, we've had two similar racket sports, man. They're hot. Get them while they're hot. Gentlemen, this has been such a pleasure, an honor. From this podcast, we have action items. We're going to bring, I don't know what the name is yet, but something to do with this hotline is coming to life.
Hot Indie line.
Hot Indie line. Yeah, something like that. I don't know about that. It kind of sounds a little, like not my vibe.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I appreciate you guys. The work that you guys have put into drink culture and that you put into drink culture for 3 years, like you paved the way for podcasting in Indiana and have made my life easier. Like people, and there is an appetite, and obviously, like, life happens, and and it just sometimes it's the right time. But I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing the stories, learning about that first couple episodes where you wanted to be the bourbon and beer aficionados, and how much, I don't know, just like self-awareness you guys have to. Like, you could have put out 200 episodes drinking with your buddy, talking about hops, but shifting that into something that was impactful enough for the mayor to dedicate a day to you. Like, in case you guys didn't know, you should know, but in case you like, that is impactful. Like the city needed that. We need to increase the quality in which we talk about our place.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, and I think that what you guys did and the movement you started was very, very impactful. And I'm grateful to call you guys friends and grateful to have you in the studio and excited to be neighbors with you guys next door. And I'm excited I'm serious. We're going to make something really, really cool happen going into 2026.
That's awesome. Thank you for having us on and congratulations to you and all of your success too. I've been closely watching and it's so cool to see you take this brand and make it into what it is right now and only getting bigger. So congratulations.
We're rocking and rolling, baby.
Yeah. Thanks for the kind words. And I literally share your contacts and your Instagram probably 3, 4, 5 times a week. So
let's go.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate you. Hey, and if you are in the downtown area and you maybe you're looking, holidays are around, you might be needing to get some stuffing off and the Christmas cookies, Myriad Fitness downtown.
Yep.
Hey, we never do free advertisement, and there it is right there. Come on. Go check it out. Yep. You guys got yoga. You got all. Give us the pitch of how we can connect to you guys. Give us the pitch on, your business. Like, how can we support you guys?
We're located downtown in the Stutz building. We have a 12,500 square foot fitness facility, and then we have a 2,500 square foot yoga facility. Our membership is both of those. We're at Myriad Fit on Instagram. That's probably the best way to get a hold of us, or just email info@myriadfit.com. But we have personal training, we have weightlifting, so Olympic weightlifting, we have CrossFit when we use a level method programming system, which I know you absolutely love, and then we also have High Rocks.
Maybe you've heard of it. This thing is taking the internet by storm.
It's crazy. I personally am training for High Rocks. I'm going up to Chicago and doing the official one up there, and I am loving the training for High Rocks. So we have a High Rocks training program right now as well. Every Thursday we have High Rocks classes. I want to invite you, I've been meaning to do that, to come to a Thursday High Rocks class, or even do our High Rocks on October 25th, 26th. We have a simulation. So we're doing a full High Rocks in our space.
Well, so I run every Thursday morning with my club. Maybe I bring the guys down.
Dude,
we have like 5 guys.
I love it.
We do High Rocks downtown.
Totally.
All right.
5:30 a.m., 6:45 a.m. Those are 2 class times.
5:30. That's when we do it.
Perfect.
A.m.
I'm dead serious.
We
Let's
meet
do
at the
it.
Butler track.
Yeah.
That's an invite for any listeners out there.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
It's available.
To hang out with us at the track club too. I won't give away free memberships too. Come try out a High Rocks class. Fabian, how can we learn? If there's a podcaster out there or a potential future podcaster.
He does great work.
Yes. So go to culturecollaborativemedia.com or find me on LinkedIn. I'm not as active on social media as I used to be, but we help businesses with podcast strategy, editing, production, and management. So if you need help with any of that, hit me up.
Heck yeah. All right, gents. Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the hard work. I'm excited to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to y'all soon.
Love it.
This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all my gear recommendations at Sweetwater. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.